I'm Bryce Johnson here at the Man Up Conference in Charlotte. And one of the keynote speakers for today was Miles McPherson, and he joins us right now. He spent 4 years in the NFL with the San Diego Chargers in the 80s and is now the senior pastor for one of the nation's largest churches, the Rock Church in San Diego, that he started in 2000. He's written 2 books, Do Something, Make Your Life Count, and God in the Mirror. He's a part of Man Up today, and he joins us now on Unpacking It. Miles, appreciate you being part of this.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to be here.
And we were talking before, you love being on the radio, so it's fun to have a guy who appreciates it.
You know, it's like little kids, they want to ride on the fire truck. I like having headphones on and talking.
I love it. Well, we heard you on the stage, and so now we're backstage talking a little bit, and I want to talk about Man Up and part of your message for today. But when you look back at your career in the NFL, how would you define it in a simple way? How would you define your career?
You know, it was a lot of fun. It was 2 parts. The first part, I was not a believer, and I was using cocaine and smoking marijuana, running around, going to clubs, chasing women. And then the second half, the second 2 years, I was not doing any of that, and I was going to Bible study and sharing the gospel and growing in my faith, and those were the best football years I had.
Wow.
So it was kind of two different lives I lived.
How important was it being in a locker room with other believers, a part of a Bible study during those early years of starting to follow Jesus?
Oh, it was critical. You know, my first 2 years I was hanging out with the druggies.
Man.
Second 2 years I was hanging out with the believers. And you have to have guys, or people, I should say, in your life that can hold you accountable. Because the guy who was discipling me, he was one of my teammates, and he would, you know, give us memory verses that we had to quote and memorize, and then he would ask us to quote them while we were in the locker room getting treatment, or we took an elevator up to practice because our locker room was in the basement of the stadium, so we had to take an elevator, and we'll be in the elevator with 20 guys jammed in. He said, "Okay, brother, what's your memory verse?"
Man.
So that
cool.
was great.
Well, and so even during that transition, you're hanging out with one side of the team and then the other side of the team. How did the previous side treat you and kind of see this new change in you and the transformation that was taking place?
Yeah, the transformation was undeniable, and they had to respect it because I'm using cocaine and partying, and next thing I'm not. Cursing, next thing I'm not.
Wow.
And I stopped doing cocaine in one day, and actually I stopped cursing and hanging out the club and doing cocaine in one day.
Wow.
And my best friend at the time, who I was doing all that with, there was just no denying something radical happened. And then I'm in the locker room and going to Bible study and talking about Jesus, and they're like, what's up with this? And so they had no choice but to respect it.
Wow, that's incredible. We're talking with Miles McPherson, a pastor of the Rock Church, former San Diego Charger, and we're here at the Man Up Charlotte Conference and gathering men today to really just be encouraged and challenged. And I want to talk about that in just a moment. But as you mentioned, in one day, those things stopped. So you encountered Jesus, your life changes in that moment. Having been a pastor for 18 years, I guess now, that's not always the case for people where things change so quickly. So how do you kind of navigate both of those just kind of journeys where for some it takes a little bit more time for some of the lifestyle to change or to move past things that held people back?
So much changed in my life, and I'm sure, I know everything didn't change because then I would be perfect.
Well,
right?
yeah.
So,
that's right.
but the big things, the cocaine, the drugs, the partying, that all stopped in one day. Got back with my girlfriend that day. It was a very conscious decision. A lot of times the big things are easier. It's a little, it's easier to. I'm not going to go to the club. I'm not going to get high anymore. But there's a lot of little things in your life that linger on for the rest of your life. But I see a lot of people who struggle day to day with decisions about following God, and I get that because there's things I still struggle with as well. But I just made a conscious decision. I had been thinking about it for a long time. I got to stop doing this cocaine. It's killing me. It's ruining my life, I knew it was wrong. And for 2 years, I was just mulling in my head and my
Hmm.
heart. So it wasn't like it came out of the blue.
Yeah, gotcha.
And so it was a decision, even though it was a radical change.
Yeah.
Um, but I think people don't realize the power they have in their mind
Hmm.
to make a decision, and they're waiting for some light to shine from heaven and
Hmm.
just change their desire.
Hmm.
When you have to make a decision, like people who work out, for example, everybody that I know that works out and gets in shape, they only get in shape when they are able to make a decision to push past where their body says stop.
Hmm.
Their body's saying stop. I don't
Hmm.
want to do this anymore. Not only do I not want to go to the gym or go put my sneakers on, I want to stop right now. And you have to make a decision. No, you're going to do what I say. You're going to be my slave. So
Hmm.
we all do that. It's just a matter of applying it to things that God tells us to do.
Yeah, no, and I just think people use the excuse that, oh, I'm just still struggling with things, whereas there is the power available to us, like you talked about, where things can change. God can dramatically change us, and
Yeah, we don't give ourselves enough credit about what we can actually make a decision to do.
that's right.
So they just say, "Well, I'm still struggling." That's a code for
I don't want to give it up
I want
sometimes.
to give it
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
or I'm lazy, or there's a lot of different reasons. Yeah.
Exactly. No, so that's a cool perspective. Miles McPherson, pastor and former NFL player here at Man Up Charlotte. And so you gave a great message this morning to the men and for our listeners today on Unpacking It and people watching the video. What was your key hope or theme that you wanted guys to take away from
Yeah.
today?
To be a forgiving, loving dad for the ones who are dads, as a son, to receive the forgiveness of the Father.
Mm,
And some of the guys in there, I led them in a prayer to forgive their dad, their earthly dad. And
that's
some
right.
of them have some burdens, and there were a lot of guys in there who resonated with that as I asked them how many, said the prayer to forgive their earthly dad of stuff. And a lot of guys did. So it was really, how can I be a loving father? What is the example in the Bible of a loving father? It was a father who forgave his son and took all his money and wasted it. And then to be that to some kid in your world, whether it's your kid or your or a relative, a nephew, niece, or a neighbor,
Mm.
or some kid you don't even is not related to you and you don't even know you're going to end up mentoring somewhere.
That's awesome. No, it was a powerful message, and even as we were wearing man up shirts, what does that phrase mean to you? Man up. How does that play out?
Fulfill the responsibility that God gave you, and also, men are made to shoulder burdens and take responsibility and walk through walls.
Mm,
And so, stop making excuses and do what God created you to do.
that's good.
So that's how
I asked Eugene Robinson this earlier, but when you look at today's man, and you've got a large congregation filled with men, and take a look at society, and whether it's a NFL player, football player, just an average sports fan like me, what do you notice as far as a concern about today's man? What maybe troubles you the most, or your heart breaks for today's man?
I think our culture is a culture of it's all about me.
Hmm.
It's like Burger King, you can have it your way. Instead of Home Depot, we can help you.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I think people are all about them, and they deserve this, they deserve that. It's not their fault, and they don't want to take responsibility. So I think that is the most frustrating thing, to see guys just not be responsible
Mm.
with what they've been given.
Wow. Miles McPherson, our guest right now on Unpacking It at the Man Up Charlotte Conference. And so you're in San Diego. The Chargers left you guys, though. So
Yeah.
what's the relationship like now with the LA Chargers and you being a former San Diego Charger yourself?
Well, I have a lot of friends still there at the team. It's very sad they left. It was like someone died in San Diego.
Wow.
It was really bad.
So the fans genuinely care. I mean, this was
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. Um, and it's bad. They're gone,
Man.
and they're not coming back in our lifetime. And I just still have friends there and friends on the team, in the front office, coaches, and everything. But they're an hour and a half away, in a good day, and they just have no association with the city. So, and their fan base there is very small. I feel for the players and the staff, because San Diego was a community. They had a community that loved them, embraced them completely, that owned their well-being. And they're up there. They're kind of in the middle of a sea of humanity with Orange County and LA County, which is millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people,
Yep.
and cars,
Lots
and
going
hours
on,
of traffic, and there's not a big fan base there for them. So I feel bad for, the players and the staff.
So I'm a Charlotte-Tian, and so our Charlotte Hornets left us. They went to New Orleans, and I stopped rooting for them.
Right.
So do you find that fans in San Diego,
totally.
they're still rooting for the Chargers,
Oh,
or
no,
they've given up?
Yeah, but most of them just gave up.
Wow.
Because,
That's hard. I mean, you followed Phillip Rivers for so many years, and now he's
Well, I really can't. I shouldn't say that. I know a lot of fans we're just mad.
Yep, I can relate.
Yeah. So we're just mad. We're just mad. I'm sure there are still fans that go up there, but if you go to their game, their stadium's 30,000 seats, 25,000 seats, and the games are half the other team.
Yeah.
And the stadium's not even full.
Yep.
So there may be 23,000 people there, and 12,000, 15,000 are the other team. So versus having 50,000. When I went to the very last Charger game that I went to in the stadium in San Diego, they played the Raiders, and it was after they decided to leave. I believe they had decided to leave. This is no exaggeration. There were probably 65,000 people there, and there were about 58,000 Raider fans.
Oh.
It was black and gold, black and silver.
Wow.
And it was in the San Diego. And when the Raiders came on the field, the stadium erupted cheering for them. When the Chargers came on, it erupted booing them in San Diego. So that was one of the last experiences in San Diego. It was horrible.
Man.
I videotaped it.
Oh, you did?
On my phone. I was on the field, and I was like, this is horrible. I can't remember if they had decided to leave or it was imminent. But it was at least imminent. But I believe it might have been after they decided. But, yeah, the whole stadium was black.
Man, that's devastating for a fan base. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it was devastating for the team.
Yeah, for the players out on the
the
field.
fans were having a great time.
Well, yeah, the Raiders fans were loving it.
Yeah.
Miles McPherson, our guest right now. And final question, we'll switch from sports to faith. As a pastor, you're teaching and encouraging others. For you personally, what has God been teaching you? What have you been learning, and what's been on your heart personally?
Pray. Pray, and God's been telling me to believe for more.
Wow.
Pretty much that. To pray and believe for more. God wants to do something. He wants to do big things through people. And, he's basically challenging me to be one of those people. He says, yeah, we've done some stuff, but I want next level. This is him talking to me.
Yeah.
So
practically, when it comes to prayer, has anything shifted or just your perspective changed?
Time. So I have
just
some
time in prayer.
Accountability dues, and we try to put in a lot of time. We text each other, and so time in presence of God. I know a lot of people think, well, you don't need to pray a long time. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
The more time you spend in His presence, the more transformation is going to happen. Obviously, that'll be quality time, but to schedule as much time, hour, 2 hours, one guy, 3 hours a day, or whenever you can. So you got to get up early, and you got to, turn the TV off and
block everything out,
and pray, read, worship, sit in silence, something.
Man, that's awesome.
That's what He's telling me.
Well, that's a good word and encouragement for all of us today from Miles McPherson, pastor of the Rock Church in San Diego and former Charger, and one of the keynote speakers here at Man Up Charlotte, an awesome conference taking place right now. So, Miles, we appreciate you joining us here on Unpacking It and wish you the best.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. He's Miles McPherson. I'm Bryce Johnson, and this is Unpacking It.